or the fall. In God's perfect utopia, man, and unfortunately girls, the four of you, will work. And so therefore, I believe that America must be working. And when we're working, we are God-honoring. And when we're not working, unfortunately, we are being oppressed. And so we have to relieve the oppressor. And so I think that it's going to require business minds, business people that understand how to create jobs and understand the pain of not doing so. Okay? And I believe that when we create jobs and that we treat our manufacturers the way they need to be treated, that they will invest. Private investment into this country has always been, for 230 years, a sure bet. If you wanted to get a great return on your investment, you brought your hard-earned dollars from around the world to this great nation, and you invested your money right here. The world has banked on the hard-working mentality and the hard-working beliefs of the American people. We have got to get America back to work. Secondly, I believe we have got to get government spending under control. We are running up deficits, $13, $14 trillion deficits, and what are we doing to our children and our grandchildren? I believe it is incumbent upon people just like me, who sweat budgets and sweat payrolls, who sign the fronts of checks rather than the backs of checks, to go up there and make some real hard choices. And I have to tell you, I don't think they're that hard. Some of these choices are no-brainers. Some of these choices I salivate at the thought of being able to make. When I know the pain that's going on in the 16 counties that make up Florida's Congressional 2 District, some of the decisions that need to be made in D.C., they're not that hard. It just takes the willpower and the commitment to the people to make the decision that we have to rein back government spending. And I think that another thing that is killing business, small business primarily in this country, which is 85% of our economy, by the way. 85% of this economy is the hard-working people that go to work every day in a small business. I am the small business candidate. I know the other challengers that I have. I am the small business candidate. If you want someone to represent small business, then your decision is made a lot easier. Because I think that it's inside of small business that this country shows its most amazing creative abilities. We dream it in small business. We draw it up. We save our money, we take our ideas down to our banker, we float our ideas, and then we work hard 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to make sure that that dream we had works. And I think it's going to take that kind of ingenuity to make this country, put this country back on the footing that it has been in for so many years. So, I'm happy to be here tonight. I'm thrilled. I'm pleased with your attendance. Carl, what a great group. I don't want to continue to speak. To me, it's more important for me to be able to answer questions. And we will answer questions as long as Carl allows us. He mentioned that he had a big hook. And so I don't want to be... Yes, ma'am.
Are you with Southern?
I am, and you're the first. Some of those no-brainers for... Well, first of all, I think the Department of Education needs to be eliminated. That's a no-brainer. I don't even have to pray over that. Okay? I don't even have to pray over that. And how many billions of dollars did we just make? But that's a battle. You know that and I know that. So first and foremost, I think for small business, I think, first of all, we have got to make sure that we got to reduce our corporate tax rates, okay, from 35% down to about 25%. I think that we have got to freeze any tax increases that are proposed right now and any increased regulation right now. That has to be on hold until we get unemployment numbers down to under 7%, 6% range. We just cannot. And as far as across-the-board spending, I would say because I've done this in my business, so I'm not saying I'm not saying that they can do something that can't be done. We have had 20% cuts across the board in our businesses. I'm sorry?
This is the Department of Education, but what about Social Security? What about Medicare? What about all these other... Environmental Protection Agency.
Environmental Protection, and I agree. I think EPA, two departments right there. I think Department of Education and EPA. First of all, I think the states have all of the mechanisms to do everything that they are doing at the federal level. What they're doing is throwing away money. Okay? So as far as those two departments right there, I believe very strongly that they could be done away with. They could be repealed. If we can repeal a health care bill, which I've already signed a commitment to do that. You know, I think, and I think any conservative is going to stand up here and say the same thing, so that doesn't make me different, okay? But I will tell you that the health care bill, you know, cannot be repealed until you take the White House over in 2012. But you can choose to defund it and not fund the bill that's going to hire 17,000 IRS workers while you and I are letting employees go. As far as your entitlement, and I don't want to answer, I mean, you threw me several questions, and I want to field a couple, but you mentioned the entitlement programs such as Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Is that good enough? Any more? I'm giving you a chance.
We do have more.
Load up.
Welfare, we have paying for babies, we have illegal.
Get it all out of your system. Come on. Come on, honey, this is church. Get it out. Get it out. Okay, pretty much covers it. All right, so we ready, shoot, aim. But first of all, let me say this. As far as welfare, let me go, because that's the big, juicy one for me. In my family, if you didn't work, you didn't eat.
That's right.
I mean, I know that and we did have the Welfare Act of 1996 that eliminated welfare rolls 73% across the country. Okay? That was probably, in my opinion, the major bipartisan bill, okay, that was passed, okay, with statesmen maybe working across the aisle a little bit, that produced some results. 73% reduction, okay, in welfare rolls is significant. 5%, not so much. 73%, that's significant. Unfortunately, we've been lax, and now those rolls have gone back up. So running a business requires discipline. Running a government requires discipline as well. Social Security, excuse me, Medicare, Medicaid, a little bit more difficult. Okay, that's why they call it the third rail of politics, because there's a lot of people that who sink to the ocean floor when talking about Social Security. So, what do? Do you raise the retirement age? Well, who's been working to be 62 wants to do that? Anybody wants to do that? You've been working to get to there? No, that's not an answer. Okay, well, what do you want to do? You want to reduce your benefits? Oh yeah, let's work our lifetime and then reduce the benefit. Who's going to run on that as a platform? Nobody that has common sense. So what you have to do is, I think you've got to make sure that you protect the rights of those who've been working and who are retired. And unfortunately, you have to look at those of my generation who unfortunately do not have the work ethics that many of you have. And we have to address the issue. We have to make sure that they have to have individual retirement accounts. There's going to have to be some privatization of Social Security in order to do this. Now, of their weekly check, and I know about collecting Social Security and paying it to Uncle Sam. Okay, I understand that. If you're in a small business, perhaps many of you do that too. You understand that. What we have to do is we have to make sure that people take personal responsibility to their future. Okay? It is not the government's responsibility to raise you and provide for you until death.
That's right.
You need to have some skin in the game. So part of having skin in the game is, for let's say people that are 50, 55 and under, then what we have to do is we have to look at their Social Security that comes out of those checks. And I believe that money should be spent in several ways. First and foremost, I think that a part of that needs to go into an individual retirement account that has investment options that are protected, that there are some limits to what happens to that money, because they've got to have that money when they retire. Secondly, I believe there needs to be the investment into perhaps a disability policy or a long-term care policy. We've got a generation of baby boomers that are about to explode, okay, onto the scene, and less than 5% of the baby boomers have a long-term care policy. Long-term care, the last 6 months of your life, is the most expensive 6 months regarding medicine in your life. A little planning, a little earlier, long-term care, disability, and that will go a long way, okay, to fending off some of those costs. So I think, but if you purchase those early,